Hey YouTube, I was watching a video today. There's a fellow I follow. There's a person I follow on YouTube who's doing a off-grid project. He started basically from almost nothing and has developed his homestead quite well, and he's been keeping video records of it. And his YouTube name is Techman2015. And his project is called the Off-Grid Camper Project. He has a site called the Do-It-Yourself World, and it's divided into those two projects, and it has a lot of really useful advice. By the way, I'm filming vertically instead of horizontally with the camera because when you film horizontally with the camera, everything looks unnatural because the camera's in an improper position. But anyway, people were poking fun at him on his latest video about his mother coming down to visit. And, she washed his dishes and helped him out and took him to town and bought him some groceries. Let me tell you, the way things are these days, there is nothing unmanly or anything about relying on help from your parents or other family members. Let me tell you, I foresee a time, the way things are going right now, financially for people and economically for people, that spread out families, as each one of them starts losing their resources, they're going to have to start coming back together to central points. We're going to get back to the point where families become more close-knit, and each member of the family is going to have something they specialize in or something they help out with to keep the family unit operating. That's one way I see things going. The lone wolf approach, I think, is not going to be the norm. It's going to be out there. But, honestly, that's pretty much the only way a lot of people are going to be able to get by right now. Because, man, things are getting hard for people. If you haven't looked outside your door beyond your own little forest, beyond your own little castle and looked at what's going on out there, people are losing their jobs. And miracle of miracles, there are no jobs to be had. The economy's gotten so crappy that employers can't afford to hire any new people. They're doing all they can just to maintain the payroll and all these benefits and now the Obamacare of the employees they got. In fact, everywhere you turn, I know people who run companies and who have small companies. They've had to fire people. They've had to lay people off because of all of the changes that are coming down the pipe. They just can't afford to keep employees on the payroll anymore, Just demand all around the country is down for a lot of things. The only industries that actually have anybody working, fully staffed are service industries, fast food, restaurants, Walmart, the crappy minimum wage jobs. And it's really sad if you think about it, the way things have gone now. We've gone from being a major producer. We had a steel industry. We had all of the backbone that was necessary to run a country and keep our countrymen working. And we've gone down to this buy it from China and everybody flips burgers country, It's really sad. And what it really is, I'm no real proponent of population control. Well, I do believe in it to a certain extent. We've got a surplus of people. We've got too many people. What are you going to do? All these kids and all these kids having kids, having kids, having kids. And there's only so many 100,000 jobs in a town to go around, or even a state to go around. What are you going to do with them all? How are you going to feed them all? You lose your job. Your job in this country is your lifeline, pretty much, unless you have some other form of assistance, So getting back to family, as more and more people lose their jobs, lose their homes, remember the foreclosure wave that's been going on in recent years? It's still going on, buddy. There's still people getting rubber stamped to this very day. Um, the housing market has not really flexed back yet. And unemployment, I don't care what the figures say. I'm a man on the street. I see people day in, day out, and I have over the last few years. Golly, that light source is yellow. And I can tell you honestly, I think those unemployment numbers that they're playing around with are not truthful. Just in the last few years, just in observation, I've seen more unemployed people now than I've ever seen. When I was living in Spring, the numbers were starting to climb just before we had to get out of there. And even out here, from the first day that we got out here to now, unemployment is a real problem out here in this part of the state. I can't vouch for other parts of the country, but I do believe that the numbers that they are quoting are very underplayed. And I don't see things getting much better. I don't know where these rosy forecasts are coming from, but right now, dependence on your family might be a given. It might be a given rather than the exception. I think it's going to get more and more that way. So do your part to help your family, and your family should do their part to help you. And if they aren't helping you, well, then you just go into survival mode and help yourself. And remember that. I don't know what else to say, man. That's just the thing, you know. Troy, I'm glad you have a very functional family that helps you out of a jam. My better half's family is that way. They look out for each other, and they look out for us quite a lot. And my mother tries. My mother tries. But really, we're all scraping hard here to keep on going, you know, a lot of us. I know a lot of members of my family that are running down to the bottom of the barrel with their resources, but they're still managing to keep the lights on, so I guess that's good, you know. Here at this place, we're trying to lay resources in place that help us, you know. We've gone partially over to solar power. I'm about to be dragging circuits through this house off of the battery bank to switch a portion of the power in this house, since I'm going to have to rewire it anyway. I'm already investing in cable and wire and other things so that I can alternatively power this house, because you never know. Up pops the devil, you can't pay your bill. How are you going to keep the lights on, you know? And never underestimate the importance of lights, you know. Lights make the difference between third world and first world. So you got to have that. You know, even if you can't do a lot of other things, the lights keep your property secure and keep things very modern in your homestead and keep the comfort level up. Even if you have candles, candles or oil lamps, you know, very important. Lights, food, water, and shelter. Lights I would have never included, you know, in the basics, but in the modern day, without electrical power, you've pretty much shot yourself in the foot in a lot of ways. Been researching all this info that's coming available on EMP, and some of this is very scary. That's another thing you should look up, a book you should read. I guarantee you'll get a wake-up call on it. This was written by a man who knows. He's been involved with all of this stuff before he ever touched the page of the novel. 1 second after. Look that up and give it a read, or get the audiobook and give it a listen. It'll make you think. It'll make you think about a lot of things. And just how dependent we are on modern power and modern technologies just to stay alive in this country. Do you think 300 million people, I think that was the last estimate, last I saw, was 300 million people, lights go out tomorrow, do you think 300 million people are going to survive? Do you think 100 million people are going to survive? Do you think 1 million people are going to survive without electricity? That's another thing to consider. Your family needs to pull together in those kind of things. It's going to be numbers. It's a numbers game. How many people do you have? And really and honestly, in a functional nuclear family, or in a functional family regardless, they will pull together. You're going to have clans of people coming back together. Oh, clans is such an ugly word these days. Let me tell you, that's just what it is. You're going to have the blah 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 clan and the blah 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 clan. That's how they're going to be referred to again. And that's okay. Back in the days of Scotland, you had clans, big family clans that managed the land that they lived on and managed the resources to keep their families operational. So I kind of see things reverting that way as times get harder and harder. Families are going to pull back together. That's just how it is. If you want to survive, that's how you're going to have to, because groups can manage themselves better than individuals when it comes to situations, bad situations. Let's say you got a year's worth of food stockpiled. If there's anybody that knows that you have that, they're going to say something to somebody. There's going to be knocks at your door. These are things, keep those kind of things quiet. That's another thing I alluded to in another video. But if you've got the entire clan there and they come a-beating at your door, hey, you got 50 or 60 people with guns there. They ain't going to come in there and take your stuff, ramsack your place. So, two ways you can go about it. I know the video is shaking, my hands are shaking, and I'm trying to hold this, but two ways you can go about it. You can do it that way, safety in numbers, or maintain an extremely low profile. Make the place look like it's already been ransacked, There's ways to get around these problems, but the easiest and most functional if you're a social person is pull your family back together. Form a group that can protect itself, and keep itself alive. Everybody has a function. Everybody has a job. My specialties are electricity, whereas there may be somebody else in my family whose specialty is growing food. There may be somebody else in the family whose specialty is child care, or somebody who knows how to hunt. The bigger your group gets, the more functional it becomes, and the more viable your survival becomes. Just things I thought about just in the last 20 or 30 minutes, all stemming from that one video. But anyway, I'll let y'all go, and y'all take care, YouTube.